Welcome to Unit 6 of the CLPNM Jurisprudence Education module. In this unit, we will review the standards of practice and conduct related to collaborative care. Partnership is an essential component of collaborative care. Partnership occurs when the nurse works with clients and other members of the healthcare team to achieve specific health outcomes for the client. Partnership implies consensus building in the determination of health outcomes. There are 13 standards in this category. The first four collaborative care standards. Collaborative care occurs when multiple healthcare providers from different professional backgrounds provide comprehensive services by working with clients, their families, caregivers, and communities to deliver the highest quality of care. Social and therapeutic interactions are needed between nurses and members of the interprofessional team to build morale and strengthen relationships within the work setting. Within the interprofessional team, all members need support, guidance, and encouragement from one another to cope with the many stressors imposed by the demands of the healthcare setting. Collaborative care also supports care transitions across settings. Care transitions are vulnerable exchange points for clients and can contribute to higher risk of poor health outcomes. Nurses have an integral role in care coordination activities. They also play a key role in promoting successful transitions by developing and evaluating the transition plan and identifying and communicating barriers to that plan. Please feel free to pause this presentation at any time to review the standards noted and reflect on how you meet these standards in your practice before moving on to the next slide. Please pause the video, review this scenario, and consider which standard of collaborative care was most exemplified by the LPN. When you restart the video, I will discuss the scenario. In this scenario, Standard 43 is most exemplified by the LPN. Standard 43 states that practical nurses plan and facilitate the safe transition of clients between caseloads, practitioners, settings, and services. The nurse in this practice scenario exemplified collaborative care by planning for the safe transfer of his client. Mario upheld his standards of practice and conduct by ensuring that he directly communicated with Mrs. Clausen, her son, and the stretcher service attendants about the transfer and the PEG tube procedure. Mario also indirectly communicated with the receiving hospital staff through his relevant and detailed documentation on Mrs. Clausen's transfer referral form. Here we have another scenario about collaborative care. Please pause the video, review the scenario, and consider whether the LPN met her standards of collaborative care. When you restart the video, I will discuss the scenario. In this scenario, Sarah is trying to advocate for her client's needs, which is expected in her standards. Sarah's intentions are good, but her approach is likely not to be effective. She did not wait to share her concerns in a two-way discussion with Ken, which would have allowed him to share his perspectives and rationale too. This is an example of Sarah missing the opportunity to engage in respectful discussion and to problem-solve collaboratively. Her approach with Ken may cause him to have a defensive reaction, but the potential damage goes beyond Sarah and Ken's working relationship. Sarah doesn't realize that her approach has also impacted her client's care. Had she asked to speak to Ken to explain her thoughts, she might have been successful in convincing him to modify his decision. In this example, Sarah did not demonstrate a good example of meeting her standards related to collaborative care, specifically Standard 44, or her standards related to leadership. The leadership standards are discussed in Unit 8. Canada has long been a diverse nation. At the time of Confederation, more than 50 Indigenous groups, each with its own language and culture, lived in Canada, in addition to the British and French settlers and other settlers primarily from Europe. Immigration has continued to shape the cultural diversity of Canada, and today approximately 20% of Canada's total population were born outside of the country. Furthermore, diversity doesn't only refer to ethnic origins. Culture includes, but is not limited to, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, age, physical ability, religious beliefs, political beliefs, and ideologies. Nurses have an obligation to respect diversity and to practice in a manner that promotes a culturally safe environment for clients and members of the healthcare team. As part of reflective practice, practical nurses are expected to note their gaps in knowledge in relation to this topic and find reputable sources to learn more. An important aspect of promoting a culturally safe environment is demonstrating cultural humility. Cultural humility is the process of self-reflection to understand personal and systemic biases and to develop and maintain respectful processes and relationships based on mutual trust. Pause the video, read the scenario, and reflect on what standards of client-centered practice were being exemplified. When you start the video, I will discuss the scenario. Sharon is demonstrating Standard 45 by seeking information and advice from the hospital elder. She is also demonstrating Standard 47 as collaborating with clients to integrate their culture into client-centered care and developing mutual goals is an example of cultural humility. Sharon is also demonstrating Collaborative Care Standard 39 by respecting John's informed decision to use traditional approaches in his own healthcare. Effective collaboration encourages clients, families, and healthcare providers to be active participants in the treatment process, which in turn promotes improved quality outcomes, improvements in client experience, patient safety, and effective use of resources. Effective communication is critical for a collaborative care plan to work. Nurses must demonstrate adaptability, empathy, and communication skills, which allows for them to be excellent leaders and members of the healthcare team. To support a collaborative care environment, nurses must understand their role and competence, as well as the roles of those in other professions, and use this knowledge appropriately to establish and meet client goals. Standard 49, shown on this slide, describes expectations for collaborative care in a direct care context. Nurses who work in other domains, such as education, administration, and research, are encouraged to reflect on how the principles underpinning these professional expectations can be applied in their domains. Standard 49 is continued on the next slide. Effective collaboration also includes ensuring clients are aware of your name and your role in their healthcare. Clients are better able to advocate for themselves and collaborate with other members of their team when they know who is involved in their care. Nurses are also expected to engage and effectively facilitate respectful interactions among team members. When a nurse recognizes that a client's care needs are beyond the nurse's own ability to address and refers the client to another member of the care team or consults another member of the care team, the nurse is demonstrating that they understand their own role and competence as well as the roles of those in other professions and is using this knowledge appropriately to establish and meet client goals. Please pause the video, read the scenario, and reflect on what standards of client-centered practice are being most exemplified. When you start the video, I will discuss the scenario. In this scenario, standards 44, 48, and 49A to F are most exemplified by the LPN. Standard 44 states that practical nurses manage differences of professional opinion with colleagues by respectful discussion and informed debate, respecting their views and opinions, and by always behaving professionally. Standard 48 states that practical nurses choose effective communication tools and techniques that facilitate discussions and actions that enhance team functioning. And to summarize standards 49A to F, they state that practical nurses must work collaboratively, cooperatively, and respectfully with the client, their family, and the rest of the healthcare team to provide optimal client care. The nurse in this scenario exemplified collaborative care by having a respectful and professional discussion with the physician about a difference of opinion related to the CT scan order. The LPN also upheld these standards of practice and conduct by coming to a compromise with the physician in the interest of determining the best plan of care for their shared client. Additional guidance for LPNs on collaborative can be found in the CLPNM's practice direction on interprofessional collaborative practice and in the guidance document on nursing in a team environment. Both are available on the CLPNM website. Now that you have an understanding of the collaborative care practice standards, please move on to the next unit to learn about the standards related to client records and documentation. If you have any questions about this unit, or if you have any other questions about practical nursing practice, please contact the CLPNM for more information.